What do you love most about the business environment that you did not have back home or prior to moving to Nashville?
Am I first?
Yes.
Okay. So I started my legal career in New York City. While I was in law school, I was a law clerk for an attorney, very successful guy. And his advice to me was, if all else fails, just get angry. And it was very effective. I mean, we would be having a tense conversation and things wouldn't be going his way. He would start jumping up and screaming, and he often was successful. And so I very much, took that to heart, and that was part of my method when I got here. And when I moved to Nashville, I started working at Baker Donaldson, a law firm here in town. And I'll never forget, it was the first transaction that I was working on with a partner at the firm. And we had a conversation with the other side of the transaction, and it wasn't going my way. And so I channeled that advice and I got angry. And, I won all my points. I felt really good about it. We ended the conversation, hung up the phone, and I thought, this guy's going to think I did a great job. And he looked at me and he said, "That is not how we do business in Nashville." And I was so taken aback because, it had gone well, I'd been successful, but he had a really just honest conversation with me. And he said, "You're not going to be successful here if that's what you do. It may have worked in New York, it may work other places, but in Nashville, and in the South, when things get tense and conversations are tough, we maintain respect. You don't need to raise your voice to get your point across." And I really, really took his advice. And over the last 6 years, I am 10 times better as an attorney than I was that day. And there are moments where I still get angry. Alexa, you've witnessed them having worked with me, but it's not necessary. You can win and you can be the most effective attorney for your client without raising your voice. And I love that about Southern culture.
Thank you.
I can jump in if you like. Yeah. Kind of coupling on with that, lack of pretentiousness here in the South is awesome, and I love it, and I'm here for it. I obviously wear a suit most days at the office, and I cop a lot of grief for it. Take the boy out of Sydney, etc. But particularly Southern men, and I ran this answer by my wife. And she was like, "You got to be careful because this kind of sounds like a stab at Southern men, and it's not. I promise. This is a compliment. There's a prioritization of comfort. So I love coming to the office on a Friday with like Lulu pants and on cloud shoes. I would never do that in Sydney. I would never do that in Dallas. So that lack of pretentiousness is awesome here, and I love it. Intentionality around philanthropy. I mean, this is the volunteer state, but I love, and I'm really aligned with just how people are doing amazing things in the nonprofit space here. And I remember distinctly when I first came to Nashville from Dallas, and it was early 2020, and we had the tornadoes, and it was awful. And I remember just thinking, man, this city is just coming together and nothing I'd ever witnessed before. And we were, as a team, we all got together, and we were going to drive out there, and we all thought we were going to heal the world. And I think Bo Tyler had a chainsaw, and he thought we were going to go, chop some trees up. And we all got in the car, we piled in, and then we drove over there, and they turned us away because there were too many volunteers. And that is remarkable. Honestly, that is absolutely, it blew me away, because in Dallas, not to beat up on Dallas, but Dallas would be, apologies if anybody's from Dallas, sorry Tyler, in Dallas obviously people would throw money at it, which is a good thing, and that's necessary, but they wouldn't show up like that. And that was remarkable to me, extraordinary to me. So I think that, and I've got friends that, and colleagues that are just doing impactful, amazing things. They're going to leave a long, long legacy in the nonprofit space. I look at Sunny Bray Cartmel does a phenomenal job in what she does, and she's so passionate about it. And it's amazing. There's whole centers, this whole foundation set up to nonprofit, which again, I haven't seen anywhere else.
Yeah, so for me, I'll share a story and then I'll go into the question. So when I first moved here, one of the very first things, culture shock moment, was when folks would wave to us, like my husband and I would literally have to look behind me, and I'm like, are they waving to us? What? For no reason? They're really saying hi? That was such a culture shock to us, because coming from New York, whether it's the city or upstate, I mean, there's no waving. We avoid eye contact at all costs because that means someone wants something from you. So particularly in the subway or in the trains. So I've just learned, I have this deep appreciation for how intentional the South is in building relationships. They take their time. They want to know about the family and the family's family and the aunt and the children and like your whole life story. And I have so much appreciation for that kind of investment. They really care and want to know about your story. And sure, things may go, maybe it's not as a fast pace as decisions are made in New York, which is like you make the decision, you move on to the next thing. But I just really, really appreciate the intentionality. And then just to tie it back from an HR and corporate standpoint, I actually think that the South has an amazing playbook on how they conduct business. Like in my experience, again, dealing with Fortune 500 companies and smaller businesses, I'll tell you that the companies with the highest employee engagement are companies with leaders that invest in their employees from an intentionality and relationship building standpoint. They take their time. They care about the family. They care about what did you do over the weekend? Like they genuinely do. And I feel like that's just something that not just from a, HR corporate culture building standpoint, there's just so much synergy with how business is conducted down here in the South. So I appreciate that.
They did a great job.